We're on.
Oh, that's right. It's my. No, it's your turn.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. There we go. Well, that'll be the outtake of the century or the outtake of the day. Good evening and welcome to the Week 3 pits and analysis of the 2024 college football season from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and my good buddy on my left, Austin Williams from Sports Talk with Austin, as we give you our takes on the latest of Week 3. Now, some people may think, oh, it's a sloppy week in all college football, but I'm going to tell you right now, just because it's a sloppy week does not mean you won't see upsets. I always say upsets are coming in sloppy weeks. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited about week 3 because Jackson, there's a couple under the radar games I'm kind of looking forward to getting to. And Louisville's on a bye week this week, so no stressing for me this weekend. Unfortunately for you, good buddy, there's going to be some stressing going on. But that's the beauty of this sport.
Oh yeah.
But overall, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to get into it.
Well, the way I look at, it's a blessing in disguise either way, because I mean that means some hint, some more awesome episodes of the Jacksonian and some awesome interviews on Sports Talk with Austin. So that could happen. I'll tell you that right now. But oops, fourth wall break. I just broke that fourth wall. I won't do that again. Throw out any spoiler alerts. But I will say, speaking of spoiler, we got Texas State at home going up against the Arizona State Sun Devils in a very scary trap game for the Sun Devils. What is your take on this game, man?
So, Jackson, we've always referred to Arizona State as the trap game of the Pac-12, right? We've heard USC fans, Oregon fans, and we've even heard some UCLA fans always say, I don't want to play Arizona State in the desert. Wonky things happen. I.e., 2019, Oregon, their entire playoff dreams ride on beating Jaden Daniels and the Sun Devils that year, and they ended up losing. Now, they did go on to win the Rose Bowl, but their dreams died that night when they lost. Now, this, Jackson, referring back to this, who would have ever thought Arizona would have been on the flip side of that? Like when you think upset, Jackson, you don't think Arizona State is going to get upsetted. But here we are. They're playing really good football. They're 2-0. And Texas State is looking pretty good as well. This, like you said, Jackson, has the making of being a really good Thursday night game.
Oh yeah. That's why it's like I should have listened to you last year, for example, like when when we were watching a little bit of Louisville, Virginia. I mean, looks like a very sloppy game. Virginia's gonna get smacked around. But no, it's not like that. But those are the kind of things you gotta watch out for in all college football.
Exactly, Jackson, because you never know when it's coming. That's when it's the best, Jackson. Like Notre Dame last week, we all thought they're going to run over Northern Illinois. There's going to be no hangover. And boom, the biggest upset in recent memory happens.
Well, and honestly, I'll go with Texas State to win this one. It's going to be, I would say, a 31-24 victory.
You know what, Jackson? Give me the Sun Devils on the road. I'm going to ride the momentum with them. I'm going Sun Devils 27, Texas State 24. I think it's going to be a field goal win.
Well, it's going to be a fun game either way. But we got ourselves an exciting Friday night, but we get a little appetizer from a bowl rematch from Kansas and UNLV. And last year, it was fun watching Kansas go against UNLV in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. That was pretty fun. Now we get to see them
Yeah.
in a regular season rematch on Friday night on ESPN. Kansas, everybody's down and out on them, or a lot of people are forgetting about them. I'm not going to let people forget about Kansas football. Not on my watch. Not
No.
happening. No.
Jackson, as long as there's air breathing through your beautiful lungs, Kansas football will never be forgotten.
Nope. Not
But
under Lance Leipold, anyway.
But Jackson, you mentioned they played in the bowl game last year, right? How much does that help or hurt these two teams? Because when you think about it, Jackson, these two know each other. They played once before. Now, I get it, different teams. In college football, no team really ever stays together long enough. But Jackson, they have an idea of what one another's going to do. The only X factor to this game is Jalen Daniels. He did not play in that game last year, if we remember correctly. That was Jason Bean who made the start. Jalen Daniels is going to be the X factor because UNLV has not seen him yet. They did not play against him in that bowl.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem is, though, Jackson, is he just don't look like himself, though, either. If anybody watched an Illinois game, he didn't really look like the Jalen Daniels of old. Like, I wonder, Jackson, if maybe the injuries are kind of hindering him still a little bit, and it's not completely gotten healthy like it should.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's why I'm very cautious about this game. Because if Jalen Daniels was 100% healthy, I'd pick Kansas by double digits.
Oh, for sure.
But since he seems to not be completely healthy, Jackson, give me Kansas to win. But it's going to be really, really close. I'm going to go Kansas 28, UNLV 26.
Well, and I'm looking at UNLV's schedule, and it looks like they've got a possibility of getting in as that 12th team or as that group of 5 representative. And I just hope that they don't let that CW curse bite them when they go against Oregon State. But after Kansas, they're going to have Fresno and Syracuse, and they've still got that dominating victory over the Houston Cougars, that 27-7 win. I mean, I know it's no Utah or Oklahoma State, and it's certainly not like beating Texas. Still, though, a win is a win. And, UNLV, we used to think of them as that dumpster fire in college football that nobody even talked about. Nobody cares about them. But somebody forgot to tell that to Barry Odom, and ever since then, people are finally starting to care about UNLV. And I got to say, I love it. I'm going to be happy for the winner of this game either way. I'm loving what both of these teams are bringing to the table in the 2024 college football season. But I'm going to say Kansas wins 34-31 in overtime.
Okay. So we're both going Kansas, but we got UNLV keeping it close. I like it.
Well, as they say, great minds think alike.
But Jackson, this next game. Jackson, what? This right here, this deserves a soul stage. I'm glad they put this on a Friday night.
Yeah, I'll be even better.
Go ahead.
I'll be having like a hangout session for Friday night, all dedicated to this game. Because I'm like, I'm not missing out on this, man. I mean, and here's the funny part. It's a non-conference game. It won't count as a conference game. Because, I mean, like last year, I don't think Kansas State...
That's even better.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't think Kansas State and Arizona were like, oh, yeah, Arizona's going to go lead the pack because it's just smoldering. Like the castle's burning all over the dang place. That's just not happening. We got to get out of Dodge right now. So, oh crap, what do we do for our non-conference schedule for 2024, 2025? We can keep the home and home. I mean, we can do that. I mean, that it's funny like how it happened because I mean, it's not the first time that it's happened in the history of college football. Like Austin, you're familiar with Wake Forest, North Carolina being like the home and home non-conference series from 2019, 2021.
Mm.
That's pretty cool. And next year
Yep.
we're going to see that with North Carolina State, Virginia. And we saw that earlier this year, last week, with Baylor and Utah on Fox. So it's going to be fun seeing all of this.
And here's the thing, too, Jackson. And the reason why I said it's even better that it's a non-conference game is because not that the loser gets a pass and it's an excuse for them, but Jackson, just imagine you lose this game and you think any normal person that doesn't realize the whole Pac-12 is still technically alive and they're still going to be affiliated with the bowls and everything else. But Jackson, the loser of this game is still got life in the Big 12.
Oh yeah. That's the funny part about this is, whoever, like you said, whoever loses this game, they still got life in conference play. No doubt about it. I mean, how funny would this be if this was the conference title matchup? Oh, we play each other in non-con game.
my
Now we're playing
gosh.
for all the marbles for the Big 12. But hey, we could get in as an at-large if we lose. So,
Jackson, the only thing that scares me about these type of games is, Jackson, what are they going to do if they're tied in the conference standings for say the second spot?
oh,
Like,
they'll just do what
do they
they've been
just
doing
go to
before.
the
I don't think they'll go
just go to the
head to
head
head.
to head?
Nope, because it doesn't count as a conference game. Remember?
Oh yeah, I got to take it to account.
Mm-hmm.
Count. So what would they do in that situation?
Oh, if Kansas State and Arizona are tied for second place, it's gonna be like the strength of wins. That's the way I believe.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever had the best wins against the best opponents of the week. I got you. But Jackson, this is going to be a fun game. I can't believe that. Like Jackson, I know we'll get into it a little later, but Jackson, if College Game Day ever picks a game to go to on a Friday night, this would be the one.
Yeah.
And I will say Jackson. Oh, go ahead.
I will say it's gonna be fun seeing what happens with K-State, Arizona, because I mean, I don't know who's gonna win it right now, but I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out in the next 2-3 minutes. But it'll be interesting to see what happens on Friday night.
Mm-hmm. And Jackson, what I really like about this game is Trent McMillan and Noah Fafita. They stayed at Arizona. They didn't follow Jed Fish to the Huskies to Washington. And they're balling out. Trent McMillan, his week 1 performance, Jackson, broke records at Arizona. Fafita looks as good as he ever has. Arizona's offense looks like it hasn't missed a step. But Jackson, also Kansas State, they have had some big turnover as well. As we know, Will Howard transferred out. They're going with the long-haired man himself, Avery Johnson, who, Jackson, he's got some abilities. But what concerns me, Jackson, is he gets a little too run happy sometimes. Like, that is very concerning. Like, I get it. You got to be mobile, but you need to learn how to pass too. Or you're going to end up like Alex Orji at Michigan. The defense is going to know exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I'll let you make the first pick on this one.
So, Jackson, this has been one of those I flip-flopped on all week leading up to tonight. And Jackson, and the funny thing about it is, the more I think about it, Kansas State always loses that one game, that one random game out of nowhere. but they're also at home too, and they play really tough at home. I'm torn, but Jackson, I'm going to go with the upset on the road. I think Arizona and Noah Fafita and company get it done in a high-scoring shootout on a Friday night. 37-34, Arizona with the upset.
I think Kansas State will lose at some point. Not just yet, because it's going to be a Kansas State 34-28 victory over the Arizona Wildcats.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's totally fair. Now we're on to Saturday. Oh, yes.
New
yes.
kickoff on Fox. Oh, man. I am loving this game.
Jackson,
But
since this is your team and your game, you take it away.
But before I go on about this game, I hate that College Game Day didn't go to this game as well, because you know what we're not going to see this Saturday?
What's that?
A Nick Saban, Mark Ingram selfie. I hate that we're not going to see that.
Oh, yeah.
But I know, like, a lot of people, they're
Well,
like,
Jackson.
they don't care.
Well, Jackson, they got to save Alabama's appearance on College Game Day because they got Georgia coming up soon, and then plus they got LSU too. So, as we know, Jackson, they love to go to LSU, Alabama. Like, let's just face it, they do.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. LS who?
LSU? But yeah, about this game, though, go for it.
But yeah, this is going to be a great game. But like last week, as I discussed with earlier this week with Johnny Burtz on the latest episode of Crimson Tide Live, that South Florida game, the final score does not indicate what it looked like. Because I can tell you right now, we looked very sloppy on Saturday night. I mean, the fourth quarter was great and all, but that was it. That was it. And, you know, Wisconsin, they have not looked so well against Western Michigan and South Dakota. But I kind of think they're saving their playbook a little bit for Alabama. That I can guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's going to save their playbook for an Alabama and Ohio State, Michigan, Texas, Oklahoma, USC. I mean, that just happens. Everybody's going to bring their best game against some of the best teams in all of college football. I mean, everybody's going to bring their A game against the Georgia as well. Like, that's the thing, though. And, you know, I saw where Luke Fickell talked about this game. It's like, you want to be the best, you got to go up against the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jackson, this kind of reminds me, Jackson, of in 2021 when you all played Texas. I believe it was 2021, right? When you all went to Texas with Bryce Young? 2022, okay. So 2022 against Texas. Jackson, this kind of reminds me of that, just a similar hair. Like, no one was giving Texas really a shot, you know, and we found out that day what Quentin Ewers was made of. And Texas almost had you. Almost. Mm-hmm. Jackson, I have a feeling this game is going to be something like that, where no one's giving Wisconsin a chance to win. Big bad Bama's coming to town. This is going to be a butt whooping. Everyone's going to pick Bama to cover the spread. But Jackson, don't be sleeping on Wisconsin.
Oh, I'm not.
In Camp Randall, this is going to be a sneaky good game.
No, I'm not. I'm not sleeping on the jump around. I mean, that would be a dumb move. Which is why I picked Alabama to win 28-20.
So, Jackson, what scares me about this is Tyler Van Dyke. When he's on, Jackson, he's arguably one of the best quarterbacks. You can make an argument he's top 15 when he plays good. But when he plays bad, Jackson, it goes downhill fast. But I will say, Jackson, I feel like this is going to come down to the trenches. Whoever wins the line of scrimmage, if Wisconsin can run the ball and keep it out of your all's offense's hands, they've got a shot. But Jackson, unfortunately, I think too much Jalen Milroe. I think the defense is finding their groove and getting their identity under Kalen DeBoer. I'm going with the Crimson Tide, baby. Roll
There you go.
Tide. Yeah. Alabama's going to win it 27-17.
Pretty similar. I will get to you in a little bit, Notre Dame. I don't want to look at you.
Oh, yes, Jackson. Here we go. This is where College Game Day decided to go.
Oh man, they're gonna be having Kirk working like a mule, like because I mean he's gonna be calling the Bills Dolphins Thursday night on Amazon Prime, and on Saturdays at College Game Day for LSU South Carolina. I don't know if they're gonna have him do the LSU South Carolina game or if they're having him do Georgia Kentucky, but they're keeping him busy.
Jackson, I guess they saw South Carolina whip up on Kentucky, and they're like, okay, let's College Game Day. Let's go to South Carolina.
Was it John Calipari, Kentucky?
No, unfortunately, no.
Well, then it's not that impressive. So, I mean, it's not that impressive.
Now, Jackson, believe it or not, Jackson, this may shock you, but South Carolina's number one in the SEC as we sit. I mean, I know, Jackson. I know what you're thinking. It's only been one game. We need to calm our horses down. But, Jackson, what I tell you about South Carolina, they're a juggernaut. I'd watch out for them.
Oh man!
But in all seriousness, though, honestly, Jackson, I feel like South Carolina, they looked really bad against Old Dominion. Like, I don't know if you caught any of that game, Jackson. I caught the back end of it, and I was like, they look awful. Like, and I get it. You know, Shane Beamer he's got a whole new quarterback, and, you know, it's got a whole new offense, but I'm like, goodness. Like, come on, South Carolina. Like, you got to hold your weight up in the SEC. Like, you're making the SEC look bad. Like, hold your weight up. And then as for LSU, Jackson, as we know, they lost against USC. Another big game, and Brian Kelly blows it. Well, actually, I wouldn't say BK blew this one, Jackson. I think the referees had more to do with this than anything. But I digress, because I can go on all night about how the referees were a little screwy that night. But I'll save that for another time.
Okay.
But I will say, though, Jackson, I am liking what I'm seeing from Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. You know, I thought, you know, LSU's offense would regress just a little bit. And it looks like, Jackson, they're playing pretty good football. Callan Lacey, the receiver, he's a stud. Like, but unfortunately, the running back is out for the season. That's a big blow to their offense. Jackson, this is kind of a toss-up game, in my opinion.
Well, I think I'll go with LSU for a 31-27 victory.
Jackson, I almost want to pick upset. I almost do. But
what are your instincts
I think
telling you?
Something's telling me, Jackson, LSU is going to escape this game. And it's going to be one of those moments. I'm going LSU 24, South Carolina 20.
Ooh. There we go. I
got them winning close.
You'll whoop Arkansas State. I mean, That's the only question is, will you beat the spread? Central Illinois, Michigan.
Oh,
That could be a MAC over Big Ten victory.
could Illinois have a hangover after the big win over 19th ranked Kansas? They could. But I'm like you, Jackson. I think Illinois at home should win.
Oh,
Should.
But here's one game that's interesting: the Mike Norvell Bowl, Memphis, Florida State.
Oh. Jackson, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year Florida State and Memphis are going to play, I would have told you Florida State by 21. But Jackson, the way Florida State has looked, this has now become a coin flip, Jackson. This has legit become a coin flip.
Good God, it's horrible. I mean, they're going to need a lot of help in conference play. And I can't believe I'm even saying that in September. But Florida State needs a lot of help in conference play. Like, that's the thing. They're going to need a lot of things to go their way in conference play. I mean, technically, they're still in it. They're still in the race. But it's like if they go 10-2, maybe they could be an at-large team because they're Florida State. But I'm not going to throw yeah, they don't look like a 10. This looks like a 7-5 team. I mean, all we heard was how they
Jackson
got screwed over and how god awful life is and how they're going to leave the ACC and they want half their money and stuff like that. And it's like, oh my God, just freaking leave already or stay. I don't care. Like, it's like nobody.
Jackson, go ahead.
You know, kind of like how there's like a lot of people that have zero sympathy for Colorado. A lot of people have zero sympathy for Florida State because they're like, all you did was cry about what could have been. Like,
so here's my thing. Here's my thing, Jackson. I felt bad for him last year, but then when I heard all the stuff about how we're gonna leave you, we're going to the Big Ten. Oh, the SEC will take us if the Big Ten don't. We're gonna leave you. We're gonna leave you, ACC, since you don't want to stick up for us. And I'm like, you know what, Florida State, I was feeling bad for you, but guess what? Not anymore.
Nope.
Like I'm sorry, Jackson, but if you're going to continue to cry about some spoiled milk like you just said, you deserve what you're getting done.
Agreed.
To you.
Agreed.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Jackson. We're not I want people to understand what happened last year was absolutely wrong. Should not have even been done. Should not even been a thought in the committee's mind. It happened. Sometimes you got to just dust yourself off and go on with life. And here's the thing, Jackson. They won the ACC. They're acting like, Jackson, spoiled brats. You all still won the ACC. That's an accomplishment in itself. Be proud of that.
Exactly. I mean, there are several teams in the past in all college football that were screwed out of a national title bid, but they still were like, you know what? We're going to tough it out in this bowl game, and we're going to show all the poll watchers how stupid they are. They were like, Florida State, it's like, I was leaning towards because I had a lot of sympathy for him, but I was feeling like maybe I shouldn't have a lot of sympathy for him because a lot of their guys are like, hey, we got left out. We did everything and we're being punished. So we're just going to be like, we're taking our ball and we're going home. You can't do that. I mean, there's plenty of things in life where, you, me, a lot of people watching this show have dealt with things we didn't want to deal with, but we didn't quit. We didn't go, oh, well, this is hard. Oh, well, this is upsetting. I'm just going to leave. And, done some of that when I was younger, but I realized that's not the way to be. If I wanted to move forward in
Nope.
life, it's not the way to go. I hope this Florida State team,
Mm-hmm.
like some of the players that are there from 2023, they learned this lesson. Maybe not now, maybe not today, maybe not next week, but maybe sometime in their life that they learn, you know, that's not the way I should have been.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing too is Jackson, not to cut you off, but Jackson, they've shown no effort either. It's like Jackson, like Georgia Tech and Boston College, they've ran up and down the field on Florida State. It's like Jackson, it's like I keep trying not to keep harping on this, but Jackson, it keeps coming back to pass. Mike Norvell, Jackson, like I told you about all these big insider sources saying he's lost the locker room. Well, guess what, Jackson? For everyone that has said, "Oh, that's just baloney," they're just trying to stir up trouble. Are they, or do they know something that us outsiders don't? Because Jackson, it don't look like he's got control of his locker room.
Yeah, because I know I ran my mouth on X several weeks back. I was like, I got a feeling Paul Feinbaum doesn't know all that much about Florida State football. Well, apparently, he knew a little something that I didn't. I should have known.
But
I should have known better. But at some point, I gotta make that call. Apologize to him on the show.
I will say this though, Jackson. You know, we're giving Florida State a lot of flack, but Jackson, we cannot take away how good Memphis is.
Oh my God, Memphis is amazing. Like they look like a tremendous contender for that group of 5 spot.
Exactly. Like I know we're over here giving Florida State a hard time, but Memphis, Jackson, they're not a challenge to be taken lightly in any form of the matter. Because, like you said, they could win the American and be that group of 5 team that gets that 5th bid.
Yeah.
But Jackson, I'll let you go first. Are you gonna pick an upset, or do you think Mike Norvell's got his guys ready to play after a bye week?
I think reluctantly, I'm gonna go with Florida State because I'm thinking they learned a little something. I'm hoping that the 2 losses were a wake up call, and if they aren't, I don't know what is. Maybe they're kind of like 2010 Virginia Tech, where the James Madison loss woke up Virginia Tech. And Florida State will roll out with a 31-24 victory. That's what I've got for this game.
So, Jackson, I almost pulled the trigger and went upset. But Florida State off a bye week, should be rested. Mike Norvell re-energized the guys. Like you said, a wake-up call. Hopefully they play more effort. I'm going Florida State 28-20. I'm going Florida State 28-20.
There we go. Ooh, Cincinnati, Miami, Ohio. I wonder if Cincinnati rebounds in this game.
I think they will. I think they'll bounce back.
If they lose to Miami, Ohio for a second straight year after having a long winning streak that dated back from 2006 to 2022, Scott Satterfield's really gonna be on fire. Because I mean, you remember those talks we had? I was like, Louisville's gonna be very happy that Scott Satterfield's out of the way.
Mm-hmm. You did, and you told me, Austin, you will be happy that Jeff Brom is your new head guy. You're like, just give it time. You will see the vision. And Jackson taking us to the ACC title game in his first year. And you were like, what'd I tell you, good buddy? This is going to benefit you in the long run.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And I
But
mean, you
Cincinnati
may
should
not.
bounce back.
I mean, you may not see ACC title this year. I don't know yet, but I know you're going to see a really good season either way from the Cardinals.
I hope so. I hope. But Cincinnati should win.
But there's a
Oh,
game.
yes.
Yeah, there's a game that's got a lack of respect. It's like, oh, it's Boston College. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, but it's Missouri. Yeah, once again, don't care. They're not brand names. Again, we do not care that they're not brand names. We care about who's doing well. And honestly, I don't really think they should be scheduling the first 3 weeks in advance. They should be scheduling at least the first 2 weeks or like at least the first week. And then whatever you want to do with week 2, I mean, do whatever. Put whatever at 11 a.m., 3:30. Like, don't be deciding this in May. I mean, that's just dumb.
Jackson, this is the most important game the ACC has yet to date.
Mhm.
Because if Boston College upsets Missouri, and a lot of people are very high on Missouri, right? And BC goes in there and upsets them. What does that say about Boston College? Well, Boston College, just with one win over the number 6 ranked team in the country. I believe Missouri's 6th, right, Jackson?
Correctamundo, good sir.
So, Jackson, just imagine if Boston College wins, how much that could prop the ACC up. Because everyone's kind of looking at us like, oh, poor pitiful ACC. Somebody's got to win that poor conference.
Oh.
Our poor conference just beat you all claim one of the 5 best SEC teams.
Oh, yeah. And I'll just tell you right now, this can be a team that can pull it off. I mean, I've seen what Thomas Castellanos can do. I mean, he's huge. He's humongous for this.
And I'll be honest with you, Jackson. Me and you both were skeptical about Bill O'Brien at Boston College, right? Because he left a sour taste in our mouth at Houston. At the Texans, we were like, Boston College, I don't know if you know what you're going to get yourself into.
Well, I mean, like with me, Jackson, I don't think it was like a sour taste. It's like, just don't have him be your general manager.
In which, Jackson, you had a year of him as your OC. And you even mentioned, Jackson, I don't know if you've ever expressed it, but how did you feel about Bill O'Brien as your OC? Were you okay with it, or were you ready to run him out of town like some people were?
I was meh on him, but I'm like, you know what? Give him another year.
But Jackson, it seems like Jackson, he's really turned Boston College around. I know it's only been 2 games, but Jackson, Boston College looks like a team that's actually playing together. That he's got them playing together. And like you said, Thomas Castellano, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the sport today. I mean, Boston College, and they got a nice offensive line. The run game's popping. But what concerns me is, Jackson, this is in Missouri, though.
Oh, yeah.
That is what's making me hesitate.
I mean, bro is kind of like a little bit of Pat Mahomes' Fran Tarkenton. Like, I mean, one of those plays he made last year, I mean, it felt like watching Fran Tarkenton. It's like, it was huge watching him. Okay, maybe I'm stretching it too far on Patrick Mahomes. More like Fran Tarkenton, Archie Manning.
But I will say this, though, Jackson. Before we make our picks, I will say, Jackson, so far, Missouri has looked good. And they returned the best wide receiver, arguably in the SEC in a lot of people's eyes, and Luther Burden. You know, they did lose Cody Schrader, but they also got Brady Cook back. So, but as you say, Jackson, when you play your cupcakes, you're supposed to eat your cupcakes, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to win. But nonetheless, they were impressive wins. But Jackson, I'll let you pick first. Are you ready to give the upset?
Like, imagine if Boston College upset Mizzou on the road on SEC Network, owned by Disney, owned by ESPN. That would be a humongous win. Oh, wait, the ACC is owned by Disney and ESPN. But it would be humongous either way. Boston College upsetting Missouri, because again, not just huge for the ACC, but huge for Bill O'Brien and the Boston College Eagles. And who knows, maybe it could be similar to Missouri Kansas State. Not a whole lot of people have this game in mind until they get it on their ESPN alerts, and then bam, they're watching it all of a sudden. And a good evening to you too, Hamas Hero. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's edition of the Pits and Analysis Show from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and my good buddy, Austin Williams.
Good evening, Hummus.
Let me see.
But yeah,
I'm going to go with Missouri 31, Boston College 24. I mean, I know as a Bama fan, I should be pulling for Missouri to be winning because it makes Alabama look good. But I'm just like, I'm picking Missouri to win, but I'm pulling for Boston College in this one. I mean, what can I say? I'm a sucker for the underdogs. I'm a sucker for teams that don't get enough, that don't get talked about enough. I always am.
Jackson, you can call me whatever you want. You could call me an ACC homer, Jackson. But you know what, Jackson, we need this win, and I feel like Bill O'Brien's just the man to do it. Give me Boston College to go to Missouri and knock off the 6th-ranked team in the country.
Oh,
Give
yeah.
me Boston College 30, Missouri 22.
Oh, there we go. Hamas Hero says, I didn't even know that BC and Missouri were playing. Sounds like an interesting matchup. Yeah, this is the second half of the Home and Home series from 2021 and this year. So it's going to be fun seeing what happens.
But Jackson, I'm going upset, and I feel good about it. Don't let me down, Boston College. ACC Country counts on it.
There we go. And then we got the 2024 edition of the Civil War, or as I like to call it, the Gravity Falls Bowl between the Oregon Ducks and the Oregon State Beavers on Fox. Now, I'm glad that this game is on There we go.
Okay.
But
continue your intro, Jackson. We got in a singing session again.
Yep. Put that in the outtakes. Anyway,
yes.
Oregon State. I'm glad that this game's still coming around. It says for at least for a few more years, but I believe they're having it beyond 2025. This game should be every year, no doubt about it. I really don't want this game to go the way of Florida, Miami, and Pittsburgh, Penn State. Oh, well, it doesn't matter to us. Where do we benefit from playing this game? Like, I hate that attitude. I hate it that we see Oklahoma State not playing each other. I hate it that we see Pittsburgh, Penn State not playing each other. And I most certainly hate it that Miami and Florida don't play each other a lot. I mean, I know Miami and Florida are playing each other. They played each other this year, and they'll play each other next year. But still, it's bad for college football. I don't want to see Oregon State go to irrelevancy, and then like two generations after us forget about this game. What's the Oregon State game? What were they even rivals? Like, I don't want to see that. I worry about this, and I know I put it like a super chat on Ducks Live at the Voice of College Football, where Ben and Spaz had on Yogi Roth from the Big Ten Network. And I put in a question. I was like, will Oregon State, Washington State be able to play each other? Like, what do you think's going to happen? He believes it's going to stay. as long as possible. And honestly, I hope it does. I don't want to see this game die out. I I don't. It would be bad for all of college football. It would be bad for Oregon. It would be bad for Oregon State. And as for Oregon State, but I'll get to the game itself. Oregon State, they've had a pretty good run. I mean, they shut out San Diego State on Saturday night. Week 1, I mean, they had an easy opponent. And Oregon, what's up with them? They don't look.
Jackson.
This is not a national title team. Like maybe they're saving all of their stuff for Ohio State on October 12th. Maybe that's what it is.
Jackson, I keep telling you, sound the alarm. Oregon is they're playing too close to their competition, Jackson, and they better watch themselves because Jackson, this could be the game that bites them in the rear end.
Yep.
Like they better be careful. They better not take little brother lightly because
No.
Jackson, I know everyone's thinking, oh, poor pitiful Oregon. Nobody wants to take them, and they're depleted. Jonathan Smith left them. And Jackson, I don't know if you know this, Jackson, but their running back, Jam Griffin, cool name, by the way, he's out there balling out. Their quarterback, not looking too shabby. Like Jackson, Oregon State is looking like a good football team. Like Jackson, I wouldn't be surprised if they go 6-6, 7-5, maybe 8-4 because of the Mountain West. Like I think Oregon State, they look all right. But as for Oregon, though, you might have to sound the alarm. Like Jackson, I get you're trying to be positive and think, okay, maybe they're being very vanilla. Don't really give Ohio State any tape. But Jackson, like in this game's at Reeser, I smell upset.
Yeah, that could happen, my friend. But I'm going to
say this though, Jax. Do you want to pick first? Or you want me to pick first?
I'll go first on this one. Okay. And I believe it's going to be an Oregon 28-24 victory.
So Jackson, I want the Beavers to win because it'd be great for college football. I'm sorry to the Oregon fans, but for Oregon State, if they win, they could be like, "Hey, Big 12, you didn't want us before. We just beat Oregon. Now do you want us?" But Jackson, unfortunately, I think the Ducks are going to be too much. I'm going 31-17, Oregon. I think the Ducks are going to be too much at the end.
Oh, then we got Tulane, Oklahoma on ESPN. Now, Oklahoma looked pretty bad against Houston Saturday night. Tulane is coming off a huge loss against Kansas State where they were close but no cigar. Can Tulane rebound in this one? Or will Oklahoma show them who's the boss?
Jackson, if this was Michael Pratt, Willie Fritz, I would say there's a very good chance. But I feel like Oklahoma, Jackson, they're going to find their offense. I think the Sooners they're at home. If this was at Tulane, I could see an upset. But I think the Sooners at home are too good. I think Jackson Arnold, I think he plays a little better. The defense continues to ball out. I'm going Oklahoma 38, Tulane 20.
I'm going to go Oklahoma 31-24 in this one. Oh, man. I think
passed it up.
I know, because I got a little. I know, because I got a little.
Okay.
I got a little. I got a little something. I'm gonna go with Florida for a little bit, but uh, what do you think about Florida testing? Like maybe that's just me, but this is not a game that should be on ABC.
Like Jackson, you can't be passing up these good games now.
I
Like
know.
we got to talk about them. As much as you think Florida and Texas A&M are pitiful, we got to talk about them.
I know.
So, go ahead.
But yeah, it's DJ Lagway is basically this last gasp Hail Mary pass for Billy Napier's tenure at Gainesville. And I kind of think he's accepted that he's basically a dead man walking in Gainesville. So he's doing whatever it takes. I mean, he's realizing he's not going to win any games with Graham Mertz. And as for Texas A&M, we're going to see what they're made of. I mean, we're not expecting them to win the SEC or anything. Like, that's not going to happen. I mean, no. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But if Florida loses this game, it makes me think that the firing squad on the tenure of Napier is basically going to be kaput. Like, it's not a matter of if he's fired, but when.
So, Jackson, DJ Waglame, try saying that fast 3 times. But Jackson, he played really good. Like, I got to give the kid that. But, Jackson, as we all know, it was Sanford. Like, it was a cupcake opponent. You should beat up on your cupcakes.
Right.
But I will say, Jackson, I honestly think, Jackson, for me, this is a coin flip game. Because I'm starting to buy into the Mike Elko and Texas A&M. I really think, Jackson, he is going to turn this program around. And they're going to be respected again. I think they're going to get the Jimbo off of them and put the Mike Elko blueprint on them. But like you said, this is Florida's last chance for Billy Napier. Because if they don't win, Ruh-roh Reggie, it might get ugly Monday morning.
Oh, man. I don't even know if he's going to get through Saturday night.
But I will say, Jackson, this game is at the Swamp, and we know the Swamp is a pretty rocking environment. But something tells me, Jackson, Florida is going to find a way to sneak this game out. They're going to find a way. I'm going to go Florida 21, Texas A&M 20.
Well, I'm going to say not so fast, my friend. I'm going to go with Texas A&M, and it's going to be a 35-24 victory. DJ Lagway is not enough for the Florida Gators. I mean, he's just not. I'll tell you something. I hope that Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy are calling this game. Because, I mean, I just want to hear Sean McDonough go, come on! Touchdown, DJ Lagway! Florida Gators have the lead!
Jackson, you love use of Sean McDonough, don't you?
Who doesn't? I mean, that's the one thing that I think Big Ten people should definitely be missing is I wish ABC could loan NBC Sean McDonough, if they don't have I forget his name, but anywho, I'll think of it later on. But that would be pretty cool if he's calling games. So because he does a great job with the NHL. He's done a great job with college football throughout our whole lives. I mean, dude is tremendous as a broadcaster. I mean, give him some credit for sure. But this game on Peacock, I mean, who am I kidding? I'm going to be flipping between Florida, Texas A&M, Oregon State, another game on CBS in just a little bit. And I'll definitely be watching this game on my iPad because, once again, I worry about the future of Washington State. I don't want it to go irrelevant like Pittsburgh, Penn State. I don't want it to be turned irrelevant for a little bit like Oklahoma State. And oh, no worries, Rough Rider. We are glad you made it, man. It is all good. We're glad you're here. Thank you for tuning in. You are good to go, good buddy. You are good to go.
You're all good. You just got here in time. We just got to the best games.
There you go. I mean, you're here. I mean, that's what counts, man. Like we're glad you're here.
But like you said, though, Jackson, Washington State and Oregon State, a lot's riding on them for this weekend because they're playing the two teams that left them high and dry, said, we don't want little brother anymore. We're not going to help you. Sorry. Jackson, wouldn't it be something if the Cougars stun the Huskies and take the Apple Cup? But as much as I like to say it, Jackson, Washington State's been playing pretty good after people left them for dead, too. But a lot of that could be because of their head coach as well, because they got a really good head coach. And you are really high on Washington State's head coach too, Jackson. But this is also Jedd Fisch's first year into this rivalry. So, Will Rogers, Huskies rivalry game, Jackson, do the Cougars upset the Huskies?
Three words. Yes. Definitely. Absolutely. It's going to be a Washington State upset 31-28 on the Peacock app. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not too crazy about Peacock, but you want to watch some college football games, you better buy this app right now because you would have been mad at yourself if you had missed out on a Boise State upset over Oregon. Well, you're really going to be feeling like you missed out on this game either way.
Jackson, I think it being at Husky Stadium gives the Huskies an advantage. I'm going a low-scoring game, but the Huskies are going to pull it out 20-17. I'm going Washington 20-17. I think they pulled out in a big-time rivalry game and keep the Apple Cup. Oh, boy. I guess we got to talk about this, don't we, Jackson?
Oh, man. Notre Dame was so bad in Northern Illinois that they should have Patrick Starr calling this game. They literally should.
Agreed. I mean, Jackson, if you would have told me this, that at the beginning of the year, I would have told you Notre Dame should win this comfortably, right? Even though it's at Ross-Ade in Purdue. But Jackson, after what I saw last week, I'm not so sure Notre Dame's going to win this game anymore.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because I want to pit Notre Dame for the sake of our friend Will, and plus I was raised Catholic, so I mean, it gives me a good excuse to pull for two teams. I mean, pull for Alabama my whole life, but, I pull for Notre Dame when they play everybody else, but I'm always going to pull for Bama when they play Notre Dame. But anyway, yeah, Notre Dame, they got to earn some respect back. And I really like Marcus Freeman. Mr. Freeman is a good dude, but he can't get the job done in games that he shouldn't win. His teams cannot get it done. They proved it against Marshall 2 years ago and Stanford. They proved it last week against Northern Illinois. And we've been seeing like Thomas Hammock, going on interviews like on Pardon My Take from Barstool Sports, the Jason Whitlock show, Fearless on Blaze TV, and he's been going on the Dan Patrick show, and he was like saying, "Hey, listen, Coach. I mean, if you want to know how we beat you, I mean, I can give you some tips here and there." And luckily, Coach Freeman was not like, get away from me. Get away. He's like, you know what? I need all the tips I can get. Because like I'm mad that Notre Dame lost last week. Because like again, our buddy Will, he's a huge Notre Dame fan, but at the same time, it's like I like
Jackson,
that Coach Freeman isn't sitting there going, "We're too good for this. We're too good for that." He's like, we're gonna learn from this experience.
see Jackson, and this is what Notre Dame does to you every year. See, and the thing is, too, Jackson, I'm about ready to go on a rant because I'm
Go
tired of
ahead.
this with Notre Dame.
There you go. Go for it, man.
Because, like, and I'm sorry to any Notre Dame fans out there, but here's the thing: y'all beat Texas A&M. That's fantastic. I'm happy for you. But what do you do the following week? You don't make an even bigger statement and say, "Oh, that wasn't just one game." But instead you blow it, and now you're looking around like, why does no one trust us to beat good old Purdue? No wonder, Notre Dame, because when we think you should win, you don't win sometimes, and you want to say that you're a threat to Georgia and you're a threat to Alabama and you're a threat to all these teams. Notre Dame, the only threat you are is a threat to yourself. That's all you are. Like, I'm sorry, but Jackson, I'm going to say this right now. If Notre Dame doesn't go 9-3, Coach Freeman better pack his bags because it might be over. There might be some fans ready to throw him out on the next plane out of South Bend the next morning.
I think if he doesn't go 10-2 at the very least, he's going to be on a huge hot seat for 2025. Like if they go 8-4, 7-5, that seat is hot in South Bend. It is a hot potato for him. But
it's scorching.
Oh my God. But we should talk about Purdue as well. I'm looking at the Boilermakers, and I'm wondering what Ryan Walters can do to show that he's just like Joe Tiller. He's just like Jeff Brom. Well, he's in his second year, and if Purdue can put a spoiler on Notre Dame, it'll be a huge win.
Well, Jackson, that's what Purdue's known for. If Hummus Hero's still here, he can even attest to that. Because look how many times they spoiled Ohio State's season. Just ask Penn State. Just ask Michigan. Just ask any Big Ten team. They will tell you you do not want to play Purdue when you're ranked. Because it's always a chance that they become the spoiler makers. But, Jackson, I don't know about you, but I'm going to give Notre Dame another chance. I'm going to say Riley Leonard plays better. I don't know about you, Jackson, but I'm going to pick Notre Dame to win. Riley Leonard's going to play much better. I'm going to pick the Irish, but it's going to be a very close 27-24 victory.
I think it's going to be a Notre Dame 31-28 victory. I mean, Hudson Card's going to be good, but not good enough for sure. And I feel like this game is going to be setting some numbers in the ratings, honestly, for because we're being on CBS and Brad Nessler calling the game with Gary Danielson. I mean, you're not going to want to miss it when those two are calling, no doubt. But maybe it can convince the Big Ten, because if we somehow do some more conference realignment, maybe we see Notre Dame get into the Big Ten and we bring back Notre Dame, Michigan. And I know they're going to bring back Notre Dame, Michigan State in the next several years. I know they're going to bring back Notre Dame, Michigan 2033. But do you really think anybody's going to wait that long for 2033 to come around? No, I'm not waiting for it. You're not waiting for it. And I don't think you're waiting for it either, Austin.
I don't know. I'd kind of be curious to see Notre Dame and Virginia a couple times a year, just to see if they blow it to Virginia. At the rate we know Notre Dame, Jackson, upsets are possible with them.
Oh well, they may throw that game to Paramount Plus. You know, like how Notre Dame's last game against Stanford last year. You know, Stanford's last game in the Pac-12 was on the Pac-12 network.
Oh, that did not make people happy.
I wonder if they consider putting Notre Dame, Virginia on Disney Plus. Be like, maybe we can put on Disney Plus and Disney XD. I mean, Virginia sucks. I mean, Notre Dame's out of the playoff race. We'll put it on Disney XD and have Phineas and Ferb call the game. We don't care.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Oh, we're just gonna grab you phone call it. Be like, hey, Alex Hirsch, get your ass over here. Call this game. I don't know anything about college football. We don't care. Call this game anyway. We want money. We want to compete with Nickelodeon.
All right, Jackson. What's our next game? All of a sudden, Phineas and Ferb is topic.
Oh man! I'll tell you one game that I wish was on ABC.
Like, what's our
the 2024 edition
What's
of
that?
the basketball? I don't care that West Virginia's 1-1. I don't care that Pittsburgh, West Virginia are not in the top tier college football. They basically will show everyone that they are just as good as Florida Texas A&M. Heck, they're going to be better than Florida. That I can guarantee. I mean, you don't want to go to Pitt at Pitt because you know what happens? Dreams go to die at Pitt. And West Virginia, I think people are giving up on too.
You had to say that.
Got to, you know? I mean, that's just how it works. I mean, you know,
Jackson, don't remind me of the pain.
Well, think of it this way. You don't have to deal with that as much as Clemson.
Okay.
So
that makes me feel a little better, but go ahead.
But that's the thing, though, is, you know, you don't want to be messing with Pitt. I mean, Pitt's more of an intimidating home environment, you know, at least throughout the last 3 years than it has been with Florida. I mean, Florida doesn't really intimidate anybody. I don't think they do. They don't intimidate me. They're not getting at me with that gator teeth. I mean, that's baby stuff right there. That looks like something I saw from Baby Shark or something. Like, oh, man. But the West Virginia Mountaineers, I still believe their offense can get the job done. I know some people have been like, you know, trolling it a little bit because that Penn State game. But let's not forget, everybody picked West Virginia to go last in the preseason in the Big 12. What they do, they finished season at 9-4. I believe they can still do better than 9-4. As for Pitt,
so
huge win against Cincy last week.
A monster comeback. But I will say this, Jackson. Like, for our viewers that have never watched us in live and living color, if there's one game that Jackson will rant on, it's this one. Especially if he feels it's disrespected. Like, this is Jackson's thing. If you disrespect the backyard brawl, you've got issues with him. He's got beef with you.
Don't disrespect any rivalry on my watch. That's what I say.
But as far as this game's concerned, Jackson, Pitt, they had that massive comeback against Cincinnati. And, you know, I was someone who defended Pat Narduzzi after their rough season last year. I said it was one bad year. Let's see if they could turn around for 2024. And I feel like Jackson, he seems to be coming back up on the upcline. But they're playing a West Virginia team who had a lot of hype going into this year, Jackson, as we all well know. But Jackson, I kind of feel like this game right here is for Neil Brown's job once again. Because if he loses this game, oh boy, the talks of Neil Brown possibly getting fired at West Virginia are going to start all over again. This is a massive game.
Yeah, I mean, that seat could pop back up. But I mean, I will say I'm glad that there's an emphasis on both sides wanting to keep this game on an annual basis. I mean, I hate that like West Virginia's having to consider getting rid of the home and home with Alabama, but I'm like, you know what? If that's what it takes to keep Pittsburgh, West Virginia, then that's just what it's going to take. I mean, I don't like it, but I mean, I'll sacrifice a home and home series just so a college football rivalry can stay on. I don't like seeing rivalries go. I mean, we went through a decade without this game. We went through a stretch from 2012 to 2021 without this game. Now we've been having it back since 2022. And, after this year, 2025 will be the last one, at least for the next 3 years afterwards. 2026 to 2028, it won't be played, at least right now, as we know of. 2029 through 2032 is when it comes back after 2025. But I love that this game, is on the schedule, on the docket, on a biannual basis. And it's great for college football. It's great for all, for not just for West Virginia, Pittsburgh, but for all of college football. But as for who I believe will win this game, I think dreams go to die at Pitt once again for West Virginia, because Pitt will win 28-24.
Jackson, I have to agree. West Virginia's dream, their hopes, it's going to die Saturday in Pitt. Pat Narduzzi, they want this game back more than anything. After what happened last year, I think they want it back more than anything. I'm going Pitt 16-10 in a low-scoring game. But
sorry, Joey. Sorry, Pooh. Sorry, Shane.
Sorry, guys, but it's business.
Yep. But no worries. I'll be picking West Virginia a few more times. I'll be picking West Virginia to win. Don't you worry. At some point. Ooh. Thank God that game's not on the CW. Oh, wait. That's right. You got the American Athletic Conference TV contract, so that has to be on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, Jackson, looks like we're going through a run of games that are kind of like as we like to say, cupcake week.
Ugh. Oh man, we got the CW. Oh man. Yeah, our friend Mark Rogers at The Voice of College Football has a new show on SEC at The Voice of College Football with Leanne Herring tomorrow afternoon, as they will have the first ever edition of Ole Miss Live, and they will have with them is Tony Siracusa from Last Word on College Football, discussing their take on the Ole Miss Wake Forest game. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it'll be a wild one. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Hummus. I love that question. I love it.
Could Ole Miss actually fall to the CW curse? I will say, Jackson, I'm sorry, but I think Jackson Dart, they still got too good of an offense. And I feel like Waite's offense is too slow developing. I'm going Ole Miss 45-24. I think they'll give up some points, but I ain't Jackson Dart and company's too much. The CW curse ain't going to bite them.
I think Ole Miss going to win 38-21. I feel like a bad beat's coming. That's pretty much it. And
I do too.
And we got a very good friend, Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports tuning in. Thank you very much for tuning in to tonight's show. We appreciate you tuning in to tonight, man. It's an awesome show. And check out Only Talk Sports as he's getting close to 3,000 subs. Let's help get him there.
He said, Breakaway says 34. 4 says Jackson Dart is legit. I think, yeah, like 48-17 Ole Miss. So, yeah, like I feel like Jackson Dart alone is going to be way too much for Wake Forest.
True. Anytime, good
And
buddy.
Jeffrey telling you thank you. You're not welcome, Jeffrey.
I was going to say, you know how there's a CW curse for the ACC?
Uh-huh.
Well,
I don't know where you're going
Idaho,
with this, but I'm along for the ride.
but last week Idaho upset Wyoming, and we see Kennesaw State, San Jose State on Mats and True TV. Are we ready to say that there's going to be a True TV curse for the Mountain West? Or is it too early to say?
Not yet. Too early, Jackson. Too early. Let's see the favorites go down a couple more times, like with
Right.
the CW. It could have been a fluke.
It may just be terror time again for the Mount West favorites, but anything can happen. Oh God! Don't really. This game is on Saturday night. Oh my God!
Oh my! I'm sorry,
How is
Jackson,
this a Saturday
but-
night game? That looks like an 11 a.m. game. Put that freaking game on. No, it's like you played like horse dung against South Carolina last week. How you not put that on ESPN Plus? Put it on Disney XD. Put it on Disney Channel. Put it on Disney Plus. Like I don't care. Just get it the heck away from ABC. It's god awful. But
Jackson, calm down. You're scaring our viewers away. You're scaring them away. Calm down. It's all right.
Kentucky, man.
It's all right, good buddy. Jackson, go run you a bubble bath and think about go think about Tulane, Oklahoma. Go calm down, good buddy. I'll take it from here. It's okay. Just don't look at that game. Just don't look at that game, Jackson. Go run you a bubble bath. Get your dog Bear. And let's just calm down before we say something we shouldn't. It's okay. And Dan Orlovsky says it's all right. It's okay. You have something to live for. Jesus told me so.
I'm all good. This is all in fun, but it does get irritating that this game's on ABC. I'll just be like, you know
So let
what?
me ask you this.
Oh, it's Georgia 42-10.
Okay, I was about to say, is Georgia at least going to cover? I know everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Brock Vandergrift, he's got a point to prove. This is his game to win." If Brock Vanderbilt came from Vanderbilt or maybe like Tulane or something, I could see it, but not Georgia. I'm with you, Jackson. I'm going to go 38-13. I think they'll spot him 10 points.
Oh man. Oh man, a bad beat.
38-13.
Oh, that'll be cool.
But
this
yes,
game is
Jackson,
a
there's a
lot
better
better.
game on the. Yes, and it's on NBC. Here comes Saturday night. Here comes Saturday night.
NBC. I forgot
It's
the
on
rest.
Saturday night.
But yeah, it's really impressive seeing what Indiana's done the past 2 weeks. I mean, I know it's not exactly the most impressive thing seeing Western Illinois get beat 77-3, but I mean, you don't see it from a program from Indiana football as usually. And Kurt Cinetti has done a tremendous job. Indiana's going on the up and up. I really love what they're doing. It's tremendous. And I'll be honest with you. NBC took a gamble putting this game on NBC and put Washington State only on the Peacock app. I gotta say, the gamble has paid off.
I will say this, Jackson. I know Hummus Heroes is going to make a comment how Indiana's become a juggernaut here in just a second. I feel it coming because that's just something that he already referenced to Jeffrey, how they become a juggernaut all of a sudden. I can feel it coming. But I'm happy that Indiana's doing so well. It's good for the sport, especially in football. Is Indiana going to go 9-3 every year? I doubt it.
No.
But as long as Indiana gets back to 7-5, 6-6, it's good for the Big Ten. Indiana won't be looked at as a dumpster fire, or as you like to say, Jackson, a dump heap. But I will say this, though, Jackson. If Indiana wins this game and could start 5-0, a bowl is looking very likely for their future. But, Jackson, UCLA on the other hand, though, new head coach Jerome Foster, UCLA also needs this game in the worst way as well. Because if you've seen their schedule, it's not Florida hard, but the Big Ten is like no easy passes. You're going to play the toughest games and like it.
Yep. Pulling out a Caddyshack reference. I love it. You learn so well. But I will say, though, about Indiana, if they do win this game, the path to bowl eligibility definitely gets much easier. Because, I mean, we see that Charlotte will be on the schedule afterwards. And Maryland, we don't really know what to make of them. So, I mean, that could be a win for Indiana. And, heck, we could see Northwestern be a win for Indiana as well. If we see Indiana be 6-0 going into Nebraska, an unbeaten battle between Indiana and Nebraska, you put that little sucker on bid noon kickoff, that'd be awesome right there.
Jackson, I never thought I'd hear those words come out of anybody's mouth. Nebraska, Indiana, undefeated, playing one another. I thought I'd never hear that. But you hear something new every day.
I mean, bid noon kickoff or CBS from Brad Nessler or Gary Danielson, that's going to be holy Toledo.
But on this game, Jackson, we're moving a little far ahead, though. I think, Jackson, UCLA's had a bye week. And I like what Indiana's done. Don't get me wrong. But, Jackson, I think UCLA, with enough time to prepare, and I think they're going to get their act together this game. It's at the Rose Bowl. It's probably going to be more a sea of red, but there are going to be enough Bruins fans there to make some noise. I'm sorry, but UCLA needs this for their season and to help their new head coach out. And I can't trust Indiana just yet, because I'm afraid they're going to let me down if I pick them now. So you know what? I'm going to go UCLA. Sorry, Jeffrey, but it's going to be a 30-20 UCLA victory.
I'm going to say it will be an Indiana 35-24 victory. I feel like UCLA is trending downwards. They are still recovering from how that whole situation with Chip Kelly was handled throughout the past, the last few months of his tenure. It was god awful. I mean, there's no home field advantage for UCLA. It's just awful. It's terrible. It's outrageous. So, I mean, I can see the Hoosiers winning this one.
I just think, Jackson, this would be the very UCLA thing to do. Pull out a win when we least expect it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. I see one of the games coming up. Oh, boy.
Oh, Air Force Baylor. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Dave Aranda and the Baylor Bears can win this one. So.
Oh, I don't care about this game, Jackson. I'm talking about the next one.
Oh, the 60 Minutes game of the week. Oh, my God. We will be having on Deion Sanders tell us how great Colorado is and how they are the best in all of college football. 60 Minutes.
That's right.
But
that's right, Jackson. That they're the future of the Big 12.
Oh, man. It's like, you saw that that press conference with Shedeur Sanders, right, where he's like putting his O line on blast, blaming all of them. You're the leader of the team, right? Or at least the
Yeah.
supposed leader. You don't go, well, it's everybody else's fault but mine. I go do everything. It's like you can't do that. You cannot be blaming everybody but yourself because, like, people that are working for you or people that are supposed to be protecting you, they're not going to be so inclined to protect you. Because when you do get sat there, like, oh well, where was he? Where was he? I don't know. Go on. And that's just
Yeah.
what's going to happen. And he's just spoiled. Like, some of you that watch this, some of you that are like tuned in, I don't know if you've heard of this old show, but it's called Coach, and it's played by Craig T. Nelson. And there's like an episode where he had like a spoiled star player who thought he was the whole team and he could just act how he wanted. But at the end, Coach basically told him, who's boss, that, you know, your attitude is not what I want my team, but you'll lose. Maybe, but I don't want you on my team, bro. Not happening. I kind of feel like there's a lot of that at Colorado, and that they have this prima donna attitude. They have this, I can act however I want, and they got 2 million followers on Twitter. They got 1 million followers on Instagram. They got this many followers on TikTok. Yeah, well, is it building an O line? Is it building a defense? It's not building anything. I mean, I like watching Coach Prime. A lot of us do, but at the same time, he needs to do better because it's just looking disastrous over in Boulder, Colorado. They look overhyped. They just do.
Jackson, I'm gonna pretend you just didn't say any of that, and I'm gonna let that slide.
Oh, it's kind of like Michael DeSanto on Grand Theft Auto, where he goes, "You forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them."
But as Hummus Hero points out in the chat, Colorado State was a very entertaining game last year. It absolutely was. I mean, people stayed up till 3:30 in the morning watching that game. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of that's because of primetime Sanders, of course, but it was still a very entertaining game. But like you said, though, Jackson, Shedeur chewing out his offensive line, Shiloh Sanders getting hurt. I mean, Colorado, Travis Hunter getting upset on the sideline, throwing his helmet, yelling. Colorado is looking like a bit of disarray. But Colorado State, though, Jackson, this is at home for them. And Jeffrey has pointed out multiple times, and he just pointed out in the chat, that Colorado could stop a simple crossing route. That is true. But I feel like, Jackson, this is another one of them rivalry games. I think it's going to be close. And I know everyone's backing the Rams, the Colorado State, but I'm going to say primetime Deion Sanders gets it done in primetime. I'm going Colorado in a 42-38 victory.
I think Colorado wins 38-35 in overtime. I think Colorado's going to give you lucky breaks again. But here's a game that is going to be exciting. Central Florida, TCU. Ah, crap. They made Central Florida the favorite. Oh, man.
Jackson, give me TCU in this game.
Yeah.
I'm going TCU 34-20.
No, I wouldn't go that high. I'm going to say more like a 34-31 victory for TCU. Oh, we got a good one. Maryland and Virginia on the ACC network. I wonder who's going to rebound.
I'll go Maryland. I'll go Maryland 28-20.
I'm going to take a chance and go Virginia 24-21. On our friend Hamas Hero says Vegas likes UCF for a reason. They have some, yeah, they got some. But the thing is with Malzahn teams is that anytime that a Malzahn team is the favorite or they're talked about a lot, they underwhelm everyone. But when nobody's talking about Malzahn-led teams, nobody's talking about how great they are. Everybody's talking about what could have been this, that, or the other. They always overachieve. And case in point, last year with UCF Oklahoma, UCF almost upset Oklahoma. I didn't hear a word from anybody about that game. Guess what? Central Florida almost upset Oklahoma. Not a whole lot of people talk about Central Florida, Oklahoma State. Guess what? Central Florida upset Oklahoma State. Central Florida's favorite
And
is
that was coming
Baylor.
off Bedlam.
Yep.
Now, Jackson, you got to put it in context. Oklahoma State was coming off an emotional win
For sure.
in the last ever Bedlam. And I think that had a lot to do with it. I'm not making excuses, but sometimes you put everything into one game, as we well know, Jackson, and then the next week you're just not ready to play.
Well, there's Central Florida Baylor. There are a lot of people favoring Central Florida, and things were high and rolling for Malzahn. Malzahn's about to get his contract extension at the bounce house. And then guess what? Baylor makes a comeback in the fourth quarter, wins it against Central Florida. Anytime we saw it at Auburn. We saw it. We are seeing it at Central Florida. I mean, I think Malzahn is overrated. I think he is. I have nothing against him. I think he's a great guy, but I just don't think he's going to get a Big 12 title for Central Florida. He's just not, honestly. You're not going to see him. You're not going to see Central Florida sniff the top four. And I think eventually they're going to get tired of it. They're used to winning in the old days of the Conference USA. They're used to the old days of winning in the AAC. They're going to get tired of coming up short in the Big 12. I mean, they were coming up short the last years in the AAC. They're going to continue coming up short of expectations. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. And then when they do go to a Big 12 title or possibly win it, it's going to be because no one's talking about them. Nobody's even having them as their surprise team. And I'll tell you right now, that'll happen. It's just how it goes. And we got the Rice-Houston rivalry. Luckily for Houston, that is not on NFL Network. Thank goodness for them. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Houston Rice, but the only way to go is up for Houston. And I think Willie Fritz will lead Houston to their first victory of the season with a 28-20 victory. BYU Wyoming has trap game material written all over it because BYU's got a huge game against Kansas State next Saturday. And at Wyoming is usually pretty scary. I mean, I know that Wyoming doesn't have Craig Bowles, their head coach, anymore, but still, it'll be. We don't know what's going to happen yet. But I'm going to go BYU on this one. And we have San Diego State, California. And it's going to be 18.5 feels too high. It just does. I don't like the spread one bit. Agreed, Jeffrey. Wyoming's bad. But maybe they put enough of a scare in BYU because, I mean, again, You don't go messing with teams in Laramie, Wyoming. You just don't. No, sir. No. It is just something you don't do. So, and we got San Diego State, California. And I'm going to say that's a California 34-28 victory. I don't know why. It just feels like it to me. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens on that one. And don't know where our buddy Austin is. I'm sure he'll be back. But you tell me what you think. While we wait for him, you tell me what you think about the Week 3 slate. I personally think that it's going to be a good one. I mean, I know it's not exactly the world's best, but still, though, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the rest. I mean, the rivalry week slate, it's going to be huge. So, oh, man, no worries, man. You are good to go. You are good to go. You are good to go. No worries, man. We're praying for you. We're keeping you in our prayers, good buddy. Notre Dame, Purdue. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Notre Dame, Purdue's going to be fun. I mean, it's an underrated rivalry. I hate that not a whole lot of people don't really think about it too much. But to each their own. But you know what the Notre Dame Purdue's going to bring out for sure. I know I will. It's had some pretty fun games. I mean, the 2009 game was pretty huge. That game-winning touchdown by Jimmy Clausen. Brad Nessler got pretty excited calling that game. I mean, I think it was with Todd Blackledge calling it. It was on ESPN. And as I stated in tonight's show, I have been pretty worried about the future of the Oregon State rivalry and the Washington State rivalry. I mean, those games are going to be fine. They'll be fine for now, but I still worry about it all the same. And I know that Pittsburgh, West Virginia, again, they're planning on playing it through 2026, 2020, or at least they're going to try to get something going for that. Make it annual again. I mean, I know Coach Brown has been wanting to make it annual, and I'm glad that he's doing that. Thank goodness for that. And Buckeyes Battle Crime said there might come a time where they don't play every year. Which rivalry are you talking about? Oregon State, Washington State, or Pitt, West Virginia? Dave Valensky says, well, at least with Texas joining the SC, we get one rival back. I miss Texas A&M versus same here, man. Same. I mean, I'm glad that it's coming back on rivalry week. I mean, you think I'm excited about some of these old rivalries being back this week? Wait until it gets to rivalry week. Although it will feel weird seeing one SEC game like Oklahoma LSU. Yeah, I see that. Washington State, Oregon State. I don't know what the future holds for those games. I mean, I know that Washington State, they're planning to at least play through 2029, but that probably will not happen. We don't know. That I don't think they're not gonna not play each other. I mean, you can't tell me that they won't. But we'll wait and see. Oregon State, they do plan to play each other annually. I mean, at least that's what we hear.
I hope they do. I really do. It'll be nice. So we'll definitely wait and see. They're picking back up in college basketball on December 14th, as we know of from John Rothstein, but they're not playing each other in football. Like, 'cause, I mean, Oklahoma State sitting there going, "Oh, well, they did it to themselves. Oklahoma did it by saying we want to be out of here. You're out of here." It's like, no, no. You're going to be more mature than that. I mean, you got to think about your state, but what do I know? I hate that game won't be played, but I mean, a lot of us do. But it was fun seeing it last year. So we'll wait and see what goes on for the future of the rivalry. But who knows? Maybe Oklahoma and Oklahoma State will play each other in a bowl game or in a playoff game. Wouldn't that be cool? Oklahoma State as the Big 12 champion, as like 5 seed, 4 seed, and Oklahoma like wins their first round game, and then boom, they play Oklahoma State. That would be huge right there. Maybe 15 years down the road when tempers cool down, one of the most inciting. I hope so. I don't want to see it go the way of Penn State Pittsburgh, where they're just letting it go to waste. Not on my watch. Well, I hope they can still play it. I mean, that's a future rivalry I want to see. Well, a past rivalry that I want to see have a future home and home. But maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it would be wise for both the schools to play each other. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, this is all my StreamYard, but I can log in. I can log in from my phone from where you're seeing me at the moment, but can't log in from my computer. Like that's one thing StreamYard's got to get fixed is the switching accounts. Like kind of like how you can do that with Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and all kinds of other apps where you can do that. Or you can do it with email, but you can't do it with StreamYard. That's pretty dumb. Hoss 304 asked if this is a Buckeye channel. Oh, it's an everybody channel, actually. I mean, at least on my end. And Sports Talk with Austin is a sports channel. Dave Valansky says Oklahoma State is a great in-state rivalry, but it was always dominated by Oklahoma. Agreed. I think Minnesota has more wins against Michigan than Oklahoma State does against Oklahoma. And with that being said, we conclude the Week 3 edition of College Football Picks and Analysis. But don't forget, everybody, tune in late at night, Saturday night, for the Week 3 final whistle as Austin and I bring you our takes and takeaways from the latest in all of college football, including the Friday games. And I'll tell you something, that's going to be a wild ride. Hoss 304 says, oh, good, I'm a Michigan fan. I don't think you're going to like my top 10 defensive rankings for the Big Ten. So, like from Week 3. But I got a feeling I'm going to put Michigan in a higher spot. I think all of Michigan Nation should be happy about it. Well, thank you, Only Talk Sports. I appreciate you tuning in. And Breakaway says, great show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate that. And friend Timothy Green was in here, talking about how it's a great show. I appreciate it. I believe I got you guys on 8th for the defense. I've got Iowa 1, Ohio State 2, USC, Nebraska 3 and 4, Washington, Indiana, Illinois are 5, 6, and 7, and Michigan's 8, Minnesota and Wisconsin are 9 and 10.
And 20-something gang member.
Oh, that. Oh, here we go. But that's the thing. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I think Michigan will do all right. I mean, they'll be fine. I mean, I know it's like everybody's down on the dumps. You know, oh, we lost to Texas, but no worries. I say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, it's looking like to me you lost to a future national champion or a national contender. But either way, you lost to a good team. It's not like they lost to Boston College or Georgia Tech. No offense to Georgia Tech or Boston College. But I think Michigan will be fine. So there's no worries there. Oh, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it, good buddy. And speaking of that, you can also check out Sports Talk with Austin at Sports Talk with Austin 2002 on YouTube. And you can also check out Austin on Austin W 1980 2639 on X, where he gives his take on the latest on the sports world. And you can also find me on Jackson Johnson 979 right here on YouTube, where I have some of my latest episodes of the Jacksonian. And I will be filming tomorrow, but I will release sometime on Friday afternoon, 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, with episode 48 with Joey Weaver, the co-host of a basketball conference and ACC podcast. He has been featured on The Voice of College Football, giving out Georgia Tech previews. And I'll tell you right now, we'll be discussing quite a lot about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. We'll be discussing quite a lot about the ACC and much, much more. We'll also be discussing who's on the hot seat and who's not for the ACC and what life is looking like as to whether we'll see whether we'll see an at-large team. But it'll also release on X at Jackson VOCFB, where I also give my takes on the latest in all of college football and NFL, sports world, politics, cartoon world, pop culture. I just run my mouth about anything. Same with Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543908, where I give my takes here and there. And finally, you can find me on Alabama at VOCFB, where I'm looking to get the channel to 2,500 subs. And of course, I host the Crimson Tide Live show with Johnny Burtz every Monday afternoon, 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, where we go over the latest in all of Alabama football, including this week's episode, where we have the preview for Wisconsin, and we go over like a recap of the South Florida matchup. The final score is not what it looks like, I can tell you right now. But we had a fun guest and host, Ryan Herrings, the host of Locked On Badgers, and I can tell you one thing: he is a go-to on Wisconsin athletics. You're not going to want to miss out on his takes. And dude's a massive genius, man, on Wisconsin football, basketball, baseball, all of it when it comes to Wisconsin athletics. You want a go-to insider on Wisconsin athletics? That's Ryan Herrings right there. As for me, thank you guys so much. I mean, you're helping me get closer to 500 subs. I am now 132 subs away from that magic number 500. I'm hoping to get to 500 subs before my birthday, which is on September 30th, at least 19 days from now. I hope to get to 500 subs, and then I can make my goal 1,000 subs for this channel and help my buddy Sports Talk with Austin get to 500 subs, because he is at 37 subs right now. And I can tell you right now, let's help get him to 500 subs. Let's help him get there now for sure, because I think he greatly appreciate it. And I can tell you right now, I appreciate you guys tuning in for tonight's edition of the CFB Pits Analysis Show. I appreciate it so much. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you real soon on the CFB Final Whistle Saturday night, especially if you're a late night owl. But, if you're not too crazy about staying up late at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock a.m., that's all right. You can tune in, whenever you want to, and you can get a fun recap of college football. And let me tell you, it's going to be fun. Y'all stay safe, stay cool, stay away from that heat, and we will see you again next time. Take care, everybody.